Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you guys are doing really well. Today we have a little bit of a different video and I'm going to be showing you how I get the story mode homes from House Number 2 into Sandbox mode and then from Sandbox mode back over into story mode. So quickly, I will say do this at your own risk. I have not had a problem doing it this way at all. It's worked with me absolutely fine. I've been doing this before they implemented the fact that you can now put a house from story mode into sandbox mode, but you first have to sell the house. I do not think that there is a way for you in game to get a sandbox mode home into story mode, but you can do that the way that I will show you guys how to do it. You cannot do it with like fully custom homes though, but I do have a way that I think would work with that, which I will get into a little bit later into the video. But to start off with, I just will show you guys how I get these story mode homes into sandbox mode. This is just something that I like to do because I prefer like building my own things, whether that's from scratch or from like existing builds like the story mode homes and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of the jobs and doing what clients want you to do or whatnot. It's just not very imaginative to me. I prefer to have a lot more freedom and bits and bobs, which is why I really like to, I'll do the jobs so that I can get the houses and then I'll put the houses into sandbox mode and then go a little bit wild, I guess, and just do whatever I want with them. But yeah, anyway, what you have to do is I am currently in story mode, as you can tell by this a big wheel. The first thing that you have to do is you have to buy a house. So these are the houses that I own. All of these I do actually already have in sandbox mode. So I will do this completely from scratch and show you guys with a new house. So what house should we buy? It really does not matter. I don't have a lot of funds, so we're just going to do this more than a trailer home. So yeah. It's always called something different in the file name as well. You guys will see that in a second. So yeah, more than a trailer, we have to buy the house, confirm, and then we have the house here. You have to go to the home, and then once you're at the home, you know, it is what it is. We're in story mode, so it looks how it looks in story mode. And then what you have to do to get it to show up in the file is to just go back to another house you own. It doesn't have to be any specific one. Just like go back to your office or go to another house you own. Pretty simple. And now it should be in the files. So now let's head on over to the files where we will be copying a story mode home into sandbox mode. Okay, so to get to the file location of where the houses go, you need to go to local disk, then users, then your user, then app data, then go to local low, then scroll down until you can find frozen district. Click on that, click on house number 2. And then in here, you will have profiles. I have 2 profiles at the moment because one of them I was using for like co-op stuff, messing about. So it should be 0. Yours should be 0 as well. Then inside here, you have houses and you have sandbox houses. Houses is where all of the houses go that you have bought. So in here, these are all the houses. You can see that they are called something completely different. So this one here, for example, the narrow 1-story house, that is actually the over the garage house. The house that says house under renovation, that is actually the lavender house. For some reason, they have a different name. But if you're ever confused about which house you have just bought and you don't see it here, always look at the date modified. It's the best way to, find something that is new. So the house that we just bought, the trailer one, is this one here, old house with a basement. So what you do, because this is a house we own, you copy this and then we go back, we go to sandbox mode houses and we just paste it in here and it is there now. Now if we go back to game, so we are back in game now. It is a beautiful sunset. Yeah, we're in story mode. So the house that we have just moved over should be this one, more than a trailer. So if we back out of that and we go into sandbox mode, as you can see, I'm in sandbox mode at the moment. This house here, old house with a basement, is the one that we have just moved over. So this will be the more than a trailer house. They are always called something different. I do not recommend changing the name, otherwise you will probably mess it up. So unfortunately you can't rename them, especially if you want to get a house from story mode into sandbox mode and then back from sandbox mode into story mode. You can't rename them, so just bear that in mind. They'll have funky little names, and they will always show up like this with the weird like mountains on the picture until you go in and you start doing stuff. So if we click on this one and we click play, obviously you want to edit it in sandbox mode. That's the point of this. So you click that and voila, we are in sandbox mode with the house that we have just bought. And yeah, that is pretty much as simple as it is to get a house from story mode into sandbox mode. So you can do anything you want with this, obviously with the sandbox mode tools. One thing that I will say, if you want to get rid of the trash and everything, obviously it's not as simple as it is in story mode. So there's two ways that you can either do it. You can go to the dirt management and you can make sure it's on destroy, and you can do this, select whichever one you want, and it will get rid of it this way. You just have to like go around all of the different sections and it will get rid of the bits and bobs for you. Like you see the dirt on the floor, we click on the scrubby one and it gets rid of it like this. So it's a little bit, I don't know whether you guys might find this more annoying or whatnot. This is just the way that I do it. The only other way you could do that is once you buy the house in story mode, go to the house, get rid of all of the trash and clean the walls and everything like that, and then like obviously make sure it saves and then move that file over to sandbox mode the way that I showed you, and you will have the house here with no dirt or anything like that. But either way, like this is like easy enough to do, as well as it shows you up on the side that there is 28 visible stains and 42 visible garbage, and it changes depending on what room you go in. So like this one, we've only got 9 stains, 1 garbage, 61 stains and 69 garbage apparently. So yeah, that, and then you can just go through and do it like this. You can make this like pretty huge, so it takes almost next to no time as well, if this is something that you're okay with doing. If you don't like to do it that way, then you know, go in and clean the house and then copy the file over. So a couple of things to note. As I said, you cannot change the file name, otherwise that will really mess things up. If you are worried about losing the original, then make a backup copy of it before you like copy it over to sandbox mode, or before you try and replace it with the sandbox version that you have now edited and everything like that. And then like you'll always have an original version that you can just replace. I have not had an issue with doing it this way, putting houses from story mode into sandbox mode and then the same house from sandbox mode back into story mode to like sell it, if that's something you want to do. I've not had an issue, but of course like do these things at your own risk. It's worked for me and I've been doing it for a really long time since I figured it out. So yeah, it's just a nice way to be able to renovate and decorate the story mode homes in the sandbox mode. And obviously with sandbox mode you can do a lot more. You can do like the garden terrain and stuff like that. You can use the move tool to make things look a little bit more unique and everything. The other thing as well, obviously while we're in here, we have like the creating the holes thing and stuff like that. And of course, it's sandbox mode, so we have the undo button, which is perfect. The only other thing that I will say, I did mention you cannot make a fully custom build and then put it into story mode. I have tried creating a whole custom build and then placing it into story mode, and it wasn't showing up. But I do have a theory that I think would work. I have not tried it though, so yeah, I'm hoping to try it maybe at some point, but I haven't tried it yet. I have a theory that if you take a house that you have taken from story mode and you have popped it into sandbox mode like this one, you can go around, you can completely delete absolutely everything. Delete everything so it's a complete clean slate. It's just a patch of grass, as if it was when you buy or when you get like a new bit of land in sandbox mode, and then build your house completely from scratch, however you like, do whatever things you want with it, and then you copy the file back into story mode. The only thing is, because you will not be able to rename it, otherwise it won't work, the house will always be called More Than a Trailer. I think this one is. So yeah, it will, that's just using this one as an example, of course. It will always be called whatever it is. So if you move over the lavender house, for example, and you make it like this big, really modern mansion, you can't rename it. It will always be lavender house, but you could have completely destroyed it and built a really lovely modern mansion for you to put into story mode. I hope that makes sense. That's the only way that I can think of building something completely custom and then putting it into story mode for you to sell. I don't really think there's any need to do it. The only other thing would be that you could obviously live in a completely custom home. Like I said, I have not tried this, but that is the only way that I can think of that it would work, you being able to put a fully custom built home into story mode. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I hope that I have covered everything here. So yeah, once you are done with this house in sandbox mode here, you just do what I showed you with the files, but this time you take the file from sandbox mode, you copy it, and you paste it into the houses folder for the story mode houses. It will ask you if you want to replace the one that is in there. You click yes, and it will replace the version of the house in there. So just keep it in mind that it will replace it. So if you have done anything in story mode to that house already, but you've now moved it over to sandbox mode and you want to do something completely different, you will lose whatever you have already done in story mode. But that's only if you have done stuff in the story mode. So for example, this house here, the narrow one-story house here, is my latest renovation that I have done, and this is the this is it in sandbox mode, everything that I have done to it in sandbox mode. So I have already put that house back into story mode. We are currently in story mode now. So if I go to houses and I click on this over the garage, it looks like this. But if we go to the house, it looks exactly how it does in my sandbox version, because I have replaced the file here with the one in sandbox. You can't have two of the same house in story mode, I don't think. So bear that in mind, it will replace it, which is why I said if you are worried, create a backup of the original. But I don't see why you would want to take a house that you have already renovated in story mode, put it into sandbox mode to renovate it again and then replace the one that's in story mode. I don't know. You might want to do that. That's fine. I'm just saying it will replace the one in story mode. So bear that in mind. But yeah, this is the house. Obviously, it's a story mode home. I just renovated it in sandbox mode, but we are in story mode now because I have moved it back over, and everything I did in the sandbox mode with it is still here. All my little like knickknacks and stuff that I love doing, everything like that. Obviously, we don't have the move tool, I don't believe, with the story mode. So anything, for example, the stuff up here in the bathroom specifically. I also don't know if we have the little, oh, okay, so we do have the little blocks here. These are all on a little shelf, and you can see that they don't actually sit here because in sandbox mode there is a shelf underneath which I use to put on and then sink it in. So I don't, as I said, I don't believe we have the move tool here at all, so that's something to also keep in mind if you do anything in sandbox mode that you can't do in story mode. You obviously, if once it's in story mode, you won't be able to like edit it or anything like that. The same with the pools, like the water and stuff. We did this in sandbox mode, but now it's in story mode. I can't delete the water if I wanted to because I cannot physically reach the pools. So yeah, it's just like little things to bear in mind. But if you are somebody like me and you prefer to do homes in sandbox mode than you do story mode, then it's a great thing to be able to move the story mode homes into sandbox mode. I'm personally not somebody who likes the jobs and the client things, and I just prefer to have a lot more freedom with the things I do. That's why I don't mind taking the homes as just like a shell, and then I'm free to do whatever the hell I want with it. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of jobs and just doing what somebody else wants you to do. I don't feel like it's very imaginative. Like, for me, I prefer to just have freedom, and it's one of those things where it's like each to their own. If you love the jobs, then that's great. I personally am not a huge fan of them. I just do them so that I can get the house and then put the house into sandbox mode. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So yeah, it's just as simple as moving over files. If you do have any other questions about this, I will try my best to help you out with it. Like I said, I'm really not the best at trying to explain things, so I really hope that I have explained this well enough. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I am rambling too much. This should hopefully really only be a really short video because it's pretty simple, just move files. As I said, create a backup if you are worried about losing something. Don't rename the file. You have to own the house before you can copy it, so you have to buy it, you have to visit it, but then you have to go to another house so it like registers in the files, everything like that. And yeah, so this is how you get story mode homes into sandbox mode, and then from sandbox mode back into story mode with everything that you have done in sandbox mode. Hopefully it makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know. A little bit of a different video, but it's nice to do these ones every now and again if I can help you guys with anything or try my hardest to explain how I do stuff. But yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching this video, supporting me, supporting the channel. It makes me really happy that you guys seem to enjoy the builds that I make. Yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into them, and it's really appreciated that you guys enjoy them, and I can't thank you enough. So yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. I design and build things and houses, and I just love decorating. It's just something that I absolutely love to do, and it's really nice to share it with you guys. Anyway, yeah, hit the like button. Hope this helped. Subscribe if you have not already. Become a member if you would like to. Everything like that, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye.